The female loneliness epidemic. Women complaining dating over 30 and 40 is hard.
One thing men don't understand about female attraction, the female gaze, is that we don't think like y'all. And that is something that the looks maxer guys will never understand. See, a guy can see a girl and think, she's a 5. She's an 8. Oh, she's a 10. But they can assess that based on simply how she looks, what she's wearing. They can see a picture of her. And when they see her in person, if she looks the same, they're going to think the same. And how they view her is likely going to stay relatively the same because they're attracted to her. Like, her personality doesn't have to change drastically to make her more attractive. And I feel like, honestly, and this is just me guessing, I don't know if it's true, but I feel like there's less capacity for a woman to become more attractive based on her personality. Like, I don't think it's that often that a woman could go from like a 4 to an 8 to a man. 4 based on just looks, and then once he like uncovers her personality, now she's an 8. Now with women, that happens all the time. That is literally why you always see women saying, wait, why is he kinda... Because women are attracted just like men. I like the face value. You see a picture, oh, he's cute, oh, he's not that cute. But the margin that a man can move up based on his personality or attitude is so much greater for women. A man can go from like a woman thinking, I don't know, he's kind of weird looking, like, I don't know, he's not my type, he's kind of ugly. But then you see him in a different light. You see him do something, portray some type of other attitude, and suddenly it's, I could actually, I could get with that. And like, if men understood like the amount of women that suddenly found a male actor or something, or athlete or public figure way more attractive just because they saw an edit of him with like certain type of music, and like, I don't know, maybe it's a scene of him like doing fucking that or something like that, or like wisping his like hand behind like a girl's head or something like that, or like throwing a chair, something like that. Like, it's those small things that can suddenly make women find a guy like way more attractive. That's why you will find edits of literally the craziest looking men ever, likely because of stuff like that. It's one, seeing them under a different light and being like, oh wait, that energy made him like a dork, like looking weird, to like, wait, okay, he's his energy, it's all about that.
She is literally saying that women do not go through attraction like men. So essentially, men are more focused on looks, which means we think that women think like us, but they don't. Women are a lot more focused on the content of your character, rather than, do you have a six-pack?
We are now living in a world where women are objectifying men. Which is crazy because women have been complaining for years about men objectifying them. And it's like your solution is to do the same thing back? What is that teaching them? I just saw a TikTok a couple days ago of this poor man who wore sweatpants to an airport, like you do, and there was a woman filming him. In what world is that okay? And the comment section was filled with women being like, let's see the gray sweats, let's see it, let's see what's there. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where's the line of mutual respect? How can you ask for respect from them if you're not willing to do the same? How does that make sense to you? It just makes me feel so ashamed that there are women out there that have so little respect for men, because then it makes the rest of us look bad. If I ever in my life make a man feel uncomfortable, that says everything about me and my character, and I would never, ever stand for that. You can't make this up, dude.
When you're used to being a victim, it's harder to see yourself as the oppressor when the tables turn. Hence the lack of accountability. Men have always been objectified and used. It's always been a double standard. While men got yelled at and shamed for appreciating a woman's appearance, women were never shamed for prizing a man's money. Nor were women shamed for refusing a man based on his job. It's still objectification, just based on a different quality or standard.
Why is it that a lot of white women will go to college, meet their man? That young man doesn't have all the answers.
Right.
That young man doesn't know the plan, but
Right.
they're willing to ride it out and grow with that man because there's potential in action. Whereas we want the man that makes $5 million a year, drives the Rolls Royce Cullinan, that has the multi-million-dollar house, that has. Well, this is the thing. If he's already accumulated all of these things, then why is it
Why
that-
does he need you?
Why does he need you? But not from a space of why do I need you because my business is good, but do you actually appreciate? Do you have the nurturing? Do you have the effective communicative way to actually be of value to that man? Why would he choose you? As opposed to all of these men out here that have a plan and they're in action, but they just haven't gotten there yet. What's wrong with that man?
There's nothing wrong with that man.
Well, why do so many women, they're like, he ain't made it yet. Okay, you haven't either.
When I mean by watering potential, I never heard you describe it as potential in action and potential in theory.
Kevin Samuels spoke about this before he died. The narrative misled our women, and now they're facing the fallout. Because white women are taught to go to college to find a husband, and black women are taught to go to prove independence and don't need a man.
All right, ladies, over 40.
If you're not over 40, this is not for you. Keep scrolling, youngin'.
How are we meeting people? Because I'm going to tell you, this online dating thing is not for me. I can't handle talking to more than one man at a time. I suck at it. If I'm focusing on one person, I want to focus on that one person.
Which is probably my fault for, talking to one person at a time, because
The guys are not talking to one person at a time. They're talking to multiple women, and then they find one that they like better than you, and they just ghost you, and that's really fun. So how are we meeting people? Bonus points if you're in a small town, because the only thing there is to do in this little town that I live in is go to a bar. And I really don't want to meet a man in a bar. There's no eligible bachelors at my church.
I'm not built for this. I just need Jesus to set my husband right in front of me and be like, here, dummy, this is the one. If you're in a small town, let me know how you met your husband if you're over 40. Like if you met him over 40. It doesn't count if you met him in your teens and your 20s and you've been married for 20 years.
This woman is over 40 asking how to meet men because dating apps aren't for her. The real question is, what was she doing in her 20s? Here's the brutal answer. She was wasting her highest value years. In her 20s, she had maximum physical attractiveness, peak fertility, abundant male attention and options, the widest selection of quality men interested in commitment, time and flexibility to explore relationships without biological pressure, social circles full of single people making connections easy. Instead of capitalizing on those advantages by finding a quality partner and building a life, she likely focused on career and delayed relationships thinking she had unlimited time. Dated casually without serious intent, enjoying attention without commitment. Had unrealistic standards and rejected good men, waiting for someone better. Prioritized travel, experiences, and finding herself over partnership. Assumed quality men would always be available when she was finally ready. Now she's over 40, and the market has completely shifted against her. Her looks have declined significantly from her peak. Her fertility is gone or nearly gone. Quality men her age are dating younger women. Her dating pool is divorced men with baggage or men with limited options. Meeting people organically is harder because social circles have paired off. She has to compete with women 10 to 20 years younger who have everything she used to have. The answer to how are we meeting men over 40 is you're not easily. You squandered the decade when meeting quality men was effortless, and now you're experiencing the consequences. What was she doing in her 20s? Not prioritizing what actually mattered long term. Now she's paying the price.
Do we think this is a red flag? So last night my guy friend went on a date and the girl chose the place. First date, they just had met the night before at a restaurant bar. she chose masa. He does not know. He didn't know what masa was, and he took her there. Is that a red flag? I immediately was like, oh my God, I would never do that. That is insane. If you know what masa is, it's one of the most expensive restaurants in all of New York City. So I immediately was like, ooh, gold digger alert.
Red flag is posting about the girl your guy friend is dating. This is one reason why some girls prefer guys without close girlfriends.
I saw a statistic the other day, and it basically said there are more single people now in their 20s to 30s than there have ever been. I can't remember what the exact number was, but it was substantial, and I feel like I have seen that. Everywhere I look, my own friends, people in my life in their 30s or nearing 30 and are still single. Amazing people that absolutely should have no problem finding anybody. I just wonder why that is. I do think to a degree people are more content waiting to find somebody, but definitely not in all cases. It's that people finally aren't settling. They're not accepting crappy relationships as a lifelong partner. It does make me sad too, though, how many friends and people I know that are, again, amazing and want to find someone and get married, and they just can't. What is happening? What is there just no good men? Men, you need to step up and be better. What is going on? I mean, I do know that that's true. It does seem like there are less good men. Anyways, yeah. What is happening?
When you are holding out for the perfect match, you're going to wait a long, long time before you eventually figure out that you've wasted a lot of time and effort for no good reason. Settle in means different things to different people. Many women won't settle for the average guy because their ego has been inflated by dating apps, social media, etc. Average isn't an insult, it's just what most people are. And when one group disproportionately wants to reach above their level, it's going to cause deficiencies down the line. Supply and demand. The good men listen to all the internet about don't approach, leave you alone, ask and you received. We checked out.
I'm 38 and I've never had a boyfriend, and this is how it affected my self-trust. When you're single your whole life, you start to assume other people know better than you, that you're missing something within yourself, or you're just missing something in general that you just don't, and you don't know what that is. That doesn't make sense. In reality, I just was second guessing my instincts because I just thought something was wrong with me. There must be something wrong with me because I cannot get anybody to date me. I was learning to wait to be chosen instead of just choosing myself. And as we know, waiting, you never know when you're actually going to get somewhere because it's not in your own hands. I was choosing to put it in someone else's hands instead of my own. And now I am unlearning that. And it is a journey, but I am trusting myself first. It's uncomfortable because I've never chosen self-love first. Wild, I know, but we're getting there. So stop waiting and choose you. It's not going to be perfect. Self-love is hard. It takes a lot for me to look at myself in the mirror, but we got this.
She's 38, can't get anybody to date her, and is learning to be chosen instead of choosing herself. This is progress. Painful, late progress, but progress nonetheless. Here's what's happening. For her entire adult life, she likely bought into the empowerment narrative. Choose yourself. You don't need a man. Focus on your career and success. The right person will come when the time is right. She prioritized independence, career, self-discovery, and personal goals while believing relationships could wait indefinitely or would just naturally happen when she was ready. Now she's 38, single, and finally realizing choosing yourself for 2 decades means nobody else chose you. Independence and success don't attract quality partners, especially not for women past their prime. The right person didn't magically appear because she focused on herself. Now she's learning the hard lesson men have always known. You have to be chosen. You don't get to just decide you're worthy of partnership and have it materialize. Someone else has to select you, want you, and commit to you. And at 38, that's exponentially harder because her market value has declined dramatically from her 20s peak,
quality men her age are dating younger women, she's competing against women 10 to 15 years younger with more to offer, her fertility is nearly gone, eliminating her appeal to men who want families. Whatever advantages she had are gone, and she's now learning to accept being evaluated, selected, or rejected by a market that has moved past her. The fact that she's learning to be chosen at 38 means she wasted her 20s and early 30s believing she didn't need to worry about being chosen, that she could just choose herself and everything would work out. It didn't. Now reality has arrived, and she's finally accepting that relationships require mutual selection, and she's no longer in a position where being chosen is easy or likely. Better late than never, I guess. But it's almost too late.
Today I will be sharing with you a horrible NYC dating experience that happened to me about 2 weeks ago. And by the way, this experience was one of the things that led me to delete my Hinge account 2 days ago. There was a man, let's call him Toxic Finance Bro, because he is toxic and he works in finance. We matched on Hinge a few weeks ago and we exchanged a couple of messages, but I ended up ghosting him for no reason in particular. Actually, one thing that I did find a bit sus about him was he kept being like, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to get drinks tonight? And I didn't like that. It was giving kind of hookup energy. It was not giving intentional date planning. But other than that, I had no real reason for ghosting him other than the fact that I had several other matches and I can only talk to so many people at once. Fast forward a week later, it's a Thursday night and my friend and I are in Acme. And a guy approaches me and he says, hey, I would love to buy you a drink. And I was like, sure. And, you know, I did not recognize this guy. And then he introduced himself and said his name. And that's when I put 2 and 2 together because his name was quite unique. And I realized, oh my God, we matched on Hinge. And I told him, I was like, oh my God, we talked on Hinge and I ghosted you. And he was like, oh my God, yeah, I remember you. Anyway, we really hit it off. I think we're both just really enthralled by the fact that we had been brought together unexpectedly like this. And so we were talking for ages and then we started making out, and we were making out in the corner of Acme for, you know, an hour or two. It was a while. This man was saying all these things to me. He said to me, I can tell that you're a high value woman, and so I want to take you on an amazing date. And I said, yeah, sure, like I like the sound of this. He invited me back to his place and I declined. So instead he got my number and he said, let's go on a date. And I said, yes, sounds great. The next day, Friday, he texted me, asked if I wanted to hang out that night. I was not free, so he said, okay, let's do Saturday. So the following day. I was a bit disappointed when he suggested that we just go for drinks at Bar Piccolino. If you're not aware of it, Bar Piccolino is a drink and coffee spot in the West Village. It's very casual. You can't even make reservations. They don't even have proper tables to sit. It's more somewhere that you would like walk in and grab like a quick aperitivo or something. It's not a date spot, and it's also not even open late. For a date, if you're going to do drinks, if a man is being intentional about the planning, I would expect him to pick somewhere where you can make a reservation and it's like a nice cocktail bar. So it was giving kind of low effort. But you know, I decided to go along with it. He said, let's meet there at 8:30. Fast forward to an hour or so before the date. He texts me and he says, hey, I'm running a bit later because I have to stop by my friend's birthday and wish him happy birthday. So I'm going to be a bit more like 9:15. I'm kind of annoyed by this because I'm like, well, if you knew you had your friend's birthday, then why did you try and schedule a date on the same night? And of course, what's convenient for him is because he picked a casual walk-in spot, he can keep pushing it back as late as he wants because he doesn't even have to be there for a reservation time. He keeps pushing it back. It becomes 9, then 9:15, then 9:20, 9:30, to the point where I'm literally not even putting on my makeup because I'm like, I do not want to start slapping foundation on my face until I can guarantee that this man is definitely going to show up. So I had to keep texting him and be like, okay, I'm leaving soon, like, I'm about to order the Uber. Like, are you sure you're on track for 9:30? And of course, this is ridiculous that I'm having to check in with this man this many times to make sure that this is still happening and that he's still going to meet me. I should be feeling secure that there is a time that we agreed on that we are going to meet at, you know. Anyway, we finally meet at 9:45. So he has pushed it 1 hour and 15 minutes later than we originally agreed to meet. So when we did finally start our date, we had a really nice conversation and we had, again, really strong chemistry, which I was expecting because when we had met at Acme 2 days prior, we did have really good chemistry. The conversation was really good, but then after an hour, Bar Pissolino was closing because they close early. So they were closing up and the guy said to me, okay, would you like to go find a different bar or do you want to just go to my place? And normally I would not be comfortable going back to a guy's place on essentially the first date. But because it was 11 p.m. on a Saturday in freezing cold January, and I knew that whatever bar he would find for us to just go to at short notice wasn't going to be good vibes, it was probably just going to be a random dive bar, I was like, there's kind of no point just for the sake of going to a second place. So I just said, look, like whatever you prefer is fine. So he said, okay, let's go back to my place and continue hanging out. And I said, okay, fine. So I said, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, I came out and he said, hey, I'm really sorry to do this, but my friends that I was with before I met you just now, they just texted me that they're about to go out, so I want to go meet up with them and go out with them. So I have to go now, but you're really great and I'd love to see you again. So are you free tomorrow? And at this point, like, I'm literally standing in the middle of the street, like, and it's freezing cold, by the way. It's literally, this was the night before the big snowstorm, so I'm freezing cold. And I'm like, I didn't even know what to respond because this like happened literally so abruptly. And so he gave me a quick kiss goodbye before we could even discuss it further, and he just dipped. So I was left standing there and I just ordered an Uber at that point and I just went home after 1 hour. So he basically ditched the date halfway through because his friends texted him saying, we're going out now. Like, just tell your friends that you're busy and that you're in the middle of the date and that you'll come and meet up with them later when the date's over. What? Like, that's crazy. Then fast forward to 1:30 a.m. that same night, he texts me and he says, hey, just got home from being out with my friends. Do you want to come over? So he literally ditched his date with me to go out with his friends to try and find girls, and then presumably couldn't find any girls. So he's like, actually, I want you back after all. Anyway, so obviously I said no. I was like, no, it's too late tonight. And he said, okay, let's see each other another time. Are you free tomorrow night? This was going to be the Sunday night. And I said, yeah, I'm free. And he said, okay, let's do tomorrow night instead. I'm free around 8 p.m., maybe 8:30. And I said, okay, sure. Now, I know what you're thinking. I shouldn't have even entertained the idea of seeing him on the Sunday after he had already messed me around so much on the Saturday. But in my mind, I was like, I'll give him one more chance, I guess, to see if he can like plan a date for the Sunday. Anyway, long story short, Sunday came and went and I didn't hear from him at all. No text, no nothing, no acknowledgement of the fact that we had said that we were going to see each other that night. And listen, luckily I was not planning on it. Like, part of me knew that he probably was not going to follow through on the Sunday plans and that he was going to flake. So it's not like I was sitting there in my apartment getting ready expecting to see him. But, you know, imagine if I had been planning on it, because, imagine if I took him at his word and said, oh, we're seeing each other again tonight, you know? Like, he literally... You can't just tell someone that you're going to see them and then just not bother to follow up and text them. Anyway, the following week comes and goes and I don't hear from him at all. And then he finally texts me on the Friday being like, hey, what's up? How have you been? And then he says, do you want to get together soon? And I said, honestly, given how flaky your behavior was last weekend, I'm not sure I want to deal with it anymore. And he didn't even apologize. He just said, okay, fair. and then he unfollowed me on Instagram. But yeah, like the rudeness, the lack of respect, the lack of planning, the lack of manners, the entitlement is off the charts. I can't. Anyway, I have so many dating stories, so let me know if this is interesting or entertaining, and I would be so happy to spill.
Maybe he was pissed because you initially ghosted him. He felt scorned and wanted to get back at you. He plays games. Next, see your first gut intuition was to keep on ghost, or tell him exactly how you feel.